What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I am one of your hosts, Jeremiah, and tonight I am joined by Dave.
What's up, guys?
James.
What's up?
And Joel. Joel, already. That's the normal
He's
intro.
already giggling? What?
Why? What did I say that was so funny?
You did it. It's so stupid. I just saw Ultra Grunt's Juicy Gwent, and I just laughed again. And I was like, this should not make me laugh. It's not even funny. It's just so stupid.
That sounds like such a euphemism. I saw his Juicy Gwent. Like, out of context, it would be like,
Hey, throwing that Juicy Gwen around in the chat.
I don't know. I just like tickled my funny bone.
All right, well, stop tickling anything and let's get into the show. So a couple quick announcements. The podcast, if you're watching it live, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursdays on youtube.com/casualshenanigans/live, welcome. Normally the show goes up for everyone on iTunes or YouTube on Friday or Saturday, but you'll notice this week that it's a little bit late and it has gone up on Monday. It's probably going to be going up on Monday from now on. I've kind of just reached the point where if any little things do go wrong, it's a lot less stressful if I just wait and push the podcast live like on one consistent day. So if something goes wrong, I can wait to get a backup mic feed from somebody, or I can wait and work on the issue. And, you know, when I'm trying to get it out on Friday, there's a lot more stress to get everything done as quickly as possible. If it's going up on Monday, it's not nearly as stressful. So, James, what are you doing?
Yeah, nothing.
Oh,
are you texting Joel right now?
No.
You didn't even wait till we got to the mail time. And you guys are...
Joel, Joel, it's something bad, isn't it? Joel, is it something bad? Oh, no, it's something bad. Don't tell us what it is. Just don't.
Wow, Joel's really laughing hard on this one.
I'm shaking. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, okay.
I was just curious, since he was already laughing at something, if he was in like the giddy mood.
I'm in a giggle mood.
All right. Well, anyway, it's going to be going up on Mondays from now on. Or my goal is to go Mondays or maybe like late Sunday evening. So if you're driving to work on Monday morning or something, you can maybe listen to it then. The second thing is our Patreon support has been going down in the past couple of months. But it hasn't actually been going down. The amount that's pledged has stayed the same, but the amount we are receiving has been going down a little bit because quite a few of you, your credit cards or whatever payment method you have with Patreon has probably, you've gotten a new credit card or it's expired or something's happened, because some of our longtime donors, the cards are starting to get declined. So first things first, we appreciate absolutely everybody who supports us. Second thing is you feel absolutely no pressure to support us. The podcast will happen with or without any financial support. It does make hosting the Teamspeak server and the podcast hosting, the website and everything else, makes it a lot easier, and it pays for all of it. And we really, really appreciate that. But the expenses are still being covered. There are no issues. But if you have noticed that you haven't been getting charged from Patreon for the past couple months, go check.
And you'd like to be charged.
If you're like really upset by the amount of money you're paying is not enough, go check, because you may not actually still be pledged to us successfully anymore. It may not be charging you. So,
Joel, as a reminder, these are people who actually did want to be charged and did want to support us. They've already checked the box. It's just
I know. Well, now they're being lazy. Pay up, bitches. Just kidding.
We're not sponsored by GameStop, AMD, Mad Cats, or Doritos. So feel free to give us money.
After the last episode, we probably never will be.
Oh yeah, like Mad Cats was gonna reach out and be like, these guys will definitely push some of our junky peripherals.
What if Mad Cats comes out of nowhere and they make their own console and it's just amazing? Mad Cats takes over. Like, no, everyone's forced to use their crappy controllers.
I have never had a strong opinion of Mad Cats, like literally everyone else. But I had a Rat 7 mouse for a little while. That was a really good mouse, and some of their driving wheels are actually really good too. Like, they're made out of solid metal instead of plastic and things. So they have a couple things that are probably decent. But you know, they're not as good as GameStop. Let's just be honest.
And nobody loves going to GameStop like me, especially with a bag of Doritos.
Okay, before this gets out of control. We're going to start the podcast with what are you playing this week? So Dave, would you like to start with what are you playing this week?
Freaking Fallout. Tons of Fallout settlement crafting and some of the Automatron DLC, which I was telling Joel earlier this week. I'm loving fighting the robots because my character is super high level, so most of like the raiders and stuff, I'm like one-shotting them and they just gib into like dust instantly. Like I'm kind of like a superpower. But then fighting the robots, they're actually like kind of leveled to my level, and they're really unnerving to fight. Like the first robot that I fought, like charged me and had like a laser beam head, a giant like spinning spike arm, and like a saw blade, and was like double hitting me with like spinning blade arms, and it was kind of unnerving and almost killed me. Great new areas too. I love the what were they called, Joel? The Rust Devils, I think.
Yep.
It's like a bunch of raiders that like use robot parts for like everything, like for walls and for like torches.
Robot parts for everything.
They're basically like a Native American robot tribe. Like you don't want to waste any part of the robot.
And you don't.
All right, Joel.
These are some large hose fittings. All right, anyway.
That's very specific.
Yeah, the robots are essentially like a box of chocolates. Like you don't know what you're gonna get, essentially, which is fun.
Are you proud of that analogy?
Yeah, a little bit.
That was out of left field. I like that though. And actually, once you start tearing apart some of the more terrifying robots, it's becoming more and more fun to build them. Because at the beginning, they were just kind of like you build your battle robot with a saw arm. Like that's kind of cool. But now you're getting more and more parts to make them look really terrifying. Outside of Fallout and Settlement Crafting and Automatron, though, I've also been playing GTA 5 again, some today, for about an hour and a half. I got one more main quest heist done because it took me a half an hour to get there because I was running around harassing the civilians like you always do when you play GTA. Like, you can't just go to a mission without harassing the population. And as James knows, the Rocket League train does not stop. PS4, PC, vacation,
Choo-choo.
not on vacation. There's always Rocket League going down. That's it for me, I think, though, this week.
All right, James, what about you?
Just Rocket League, I think. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, Joel.
I've kind of taken a break.
Okay. Joel and I have been playing some Dirt Rally.
How is that?
Yeah.
Really good.
Don't give a full review yet, but
it's the Dark Souls of racing games. I think it's pretty safe to say. Like, Joel and I have
really
wrecked a lot more than you'd think you would wreck, even if you're being careful.
But it's really fun. It's very satisfying if you can pull things off.
Yeah.
Turns and stuff.
Yeah, I'd say the beginner learning curve is pretty steep, even for like, I consider myself to be a pretty halfway decent racer. And I'm having tons of trouble on some of the more technical sections trying to be fast. Like, you can go super slow and do okay, but trying to get fast requires just, like, there's no parts of any of the tracks where you can just cruise. Like, it's not like any other racing game, really. You're constantly making adjustments. I like the league feature. Joel set us up a league, so every week we have 2 races we have to do. And since the way rallies work is you're not on track at the same time, it's just tracking our times, and like, it'll assign points and everything based on that. Joel, we did 2 stages 2 days ago.
Yeah. And so the next one will be next week, next Thursday or Friday.
But our combined time for the 2 stages was 14 something, and we were 1 second apart from each other.
Yeah.
I currently have a 1 second lead on Joel, which is pretty amazing.
I've always been impressed with how Joel can pick up almost anything and be at least pretty good at it. That's like one of Joel's special abilities. Like, Joel, jack of all trades.
I put my ring on. the power ring. Kind of like, what's not Power Rangers,
Green Lantern? Captain Planet?
Yeah, yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, who
go
sings
there
the
too,
Captain
I guess.
Planet song?
What?
Who sings the Captain Planet song? What's that from? No, anyway. All right, here go the giggles.
I finished Firewatch.
What'd you think?
Oh, loved it. It was a really good game. It
How
took
long
me
did it
about,
take you?
I'd say, 5.5, 6 hours.
Oh, that's longer
Really?
than I heard.
I played it over 3 nights,
Okay.
spread out between 3 weeks, and Joey was. I think we estimated about 2 hours each night. Each time I would play it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really good. It's very short. It takes a crazy turn, a very crazy turn. Yeah, it was really good. And then what other game did I beat? Oh, then I beat Automatron as well. That was a lot of fun.
Follow-up question on Firewatch. Have they fixed the performance issues on PS4? Did you notice any hitching and stuttering?
It was a little bit better, but
Okay.
it's still pretty shitty.
It's kind of
because it's what's dumb is I don't think it has anything to do with like the performance of it. It just has a lot to do with the game, because you're like in an area, it's totally fine, and you just like move it a little bit, and it'll just go hang up for like half second and then go again. It's really random. Like it doesn't make any sense.
It's not like Just Cause 3. I was watching you play that on vacation. That game, I think, is the consistently slowest game.
I think it's getting worse. Because no, I'm serious. I think it's getting worse.
It looks worse than when I recorded the Potato Masher video.
Yeah,
there was
it really
some slowdown, but when you were playing, it looked like it was in slow motion for like 10 minutes.
Usually when I blow up like tons of stuff, I'm expecting it to be slower. But this is like you one explosion of a car, and you're like slow motion, and it's actually really kind of pissing me off because I'm really enjoying the game, but I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm just
you should actually look that up and see if that's other people having that issue.
Everybody's having slowdown.
I mean, like, but certain games that are poorly optimized, as you get further into the game, and it's requiring you to have more stuff in the memory, like it starts running terribly.
Like Skyrim on PS3 or
Yeah, I think New Vegas on one of the consoles, like if your save game got too big, like it would actually slow the frame rate down. It was all kind of weird problems like that.
What do you think of the Automatron DLC, Joel?
I loved it. I loved it more than the main campaign.
How long was it?
I'd say it took me maybe 6 hours, 7 hours.
That's not bad. And it was $15?
Well, I mean, I paid $30 for the whole season pass thing, so I didn't pay any money for it. I guess I don't know how many there's DLCs. It could be $5 by the time all the DLCs come out.
Okay.
And actually, someone asked in the chat if I thought it was worth the asking price. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm not convinced it's worth the full $10. But if you can find the season passes for $30, which you can on all platforms still, go ahead and get it if you want the DLCs, because that makes it like $5 for the first one. I think it'll be worth it.
If you're playing it on the PC, Green Man Gaming has it on sale like all the time.
Still for the original $30, yeah.
Yeah, and then cheaper. Is it the 20% off coupon?
Yeah, I got mine for I think 24, like 20 or something like that. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think it's like $24.
Play anything else, Joel?
Salt and Sanctuary.
Yeah, I mean, over the beach trip, I played Salt and Sanctuary. I played some Bloodborne with Dave. I'm looking forward to beating the last two bosses, because the end boss in Bloodborne, if you beat him, the game starts over. And so me and John have held off from beating the last boss so we could.
Are you going to officially beat them right before Dark Souls?
Well, yeah, we're kind of nervous because it's like if we didn't want to do it too early, because like if a DLC comes out, I didn't want to have to replay through the whole game to play the DLC, you know. But I don't think there's going to be any more DLC for the game. So I think if Dave beats the last two bosses, I'll probably just finish it out. Yeah, nice. Before Dark Souls 3.
Nice.
The last DLC boss, Mark wasn't kidding. Like the intro movie for him is really neat and dramatic, but then when he comes out for the actual fight, he's like a humanoid size. You're like, oh, this is going to be bad. And then he like morphs, and I've never seen a boss move that fast in Bloodborne before. Like the crap just hits the fan all of a sudden, and then the screaming starts. Both me and Joel just
He's moving at 60 and you're moving at 23 frames a second.
23 has there been a patch? I didn't know about.
I've been playing a crap load of stuff. I've been recording for the Potato Masher, so I'll just play a game while I record, then I'll just keep playing for like an hour or two more. I've been playing Far Cry Primal.
How do you like that?
It's not bad. It's a good looking game. You can tell they've optimized the engine quite a bit. I'm a little disappointed it's only running at 30 FPS on the PS4. I haven't got the PC copy yet. But the game it's pretty fun. Like it's really good looking. The lighting and everything, like they've kind of perfected that. It does feel a little bit rushed out as far as story direction. Like you can tell they're trying to have like a big grand opening to the story and everything, but it feels like it's a little bit flat in points. But it's already back into Far Cry. Like I'm stealing bonfires, killing cannibals, going on drug-laden flying trips as a mystical owl. Like it's Far Cry. But yeah, so far I think it's actually pretty fun. I don't know if I'd
like is the world itself fun?
It is. It's a cool
like that
world.
was the one appealing thing to me about that game, is that it puts you in a different.
The only thing I don't like is that there's of course no helicopters or four-wheelers or anything to get around the world, which is what I always preferred. I don't really like hoofing it. So I don't really like that, but the world itself is really pretty. And it's kind of interesting going back to almost entirely hand-to-hand combat. There is a bow and arrow, but it's not super overpowered. So that's pretty fun. I think the game's probably just a victim of the time it came out. You know, it came out early in the winter, and there's just awesome games coming out like once or twice a month for months. So like, you know, what are they going to do? I think it's a good game, but I doubt it's ever going to get the recognition it probably deserved. I think it's partly their fault for putting it out so quickly after Far Cry 4. It didn't need to come out 1 year later. Like, it could have waited.
What was the game that Horizon or Dawn, what is it? Horizon Dawn? Zero Dawn? Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Do you think they pushed it to come out since that was kind of...
We don't even know when that's coming out, so I don't think so.
Yeah, but it is kind of the same environment.
It is a little bit, yeah. But with the robots and everything, I think Horizon's going to end up being more different than you think. I think they just didn't want to come out in last year's packed holiday season, so they decided to drop it at the beginning of this year. But honestly, I don't think that was a good idea either. I mean, you can never really tell when all the other publishers are going to put their games out, you know, if they haven't announced stuff. But I wish they could have gotten a better time slot for it, because I think people are just going to forget about it, and it is a pretty good game. I also have a confession to make about another game I'm playing. Need for Speed. There's Origin Access, which for $5 a month you can play 10 hours of Need for Speed. So like, I needed it for the Potato Masher review, so I was like, well, $5 is worth it, and I'm still playing it. But here's what's surprising: at 60 FPS, and you guys are probably tired of me beating the drum, the game feels completely different. In the same way that GTA 5 felt completely different at 60 FPS, the driving and everything, like, it wasn't I prefer 30, I prefer 60. It works better at 60. And there are drift races. That was one of the hardest things, the drift train races in Need for Speed, where I was like having to do them 4 or 5 times to pass them, just because of what a hard time I was having controlling the cars. I'm like quadrupling the minimum score and stuff now. Like, I'm absolutely tearing them up, and it feels almost easy now. And that's how much of a difference 60 FPS has made. It was such a big difference when I tried it, you know, at 60 and at 30. I've dropped down. I'm playing the game at 1080p just so I can keep it completely locked at 60, and I'm monitoring frame times just so they never change either. But I'm actually enjoying the game. The handling model is still absolute garbage, but at 60 FPS, I can work around that, and it feels more like an older Need for Speed game. So it's still not a good handling model, but it's not like making me want to throw the controller constantly.
Now, have you done 4K with it?
Yes.
How do the textures look?
Oh, amazing. It looks amazing. Yeah, it's a really good looking game. Like, it looks like every drop of water is rendered, like rolling off the car and stuff. It's good looking. But the trade-off, I might try it at 1440p 60 and just see how that looks. See if the scaling works, since that's not a perfect scale on a 4K monitor. But yeah, the game is actually, I'm enjoying it a lot more. So I may actually buy it once the trial's up. I still have like 5 hours. I've already gotten past where I was at 15 hours in on the PS4 after only playing 5 hours on the PC. That's how much better, like, I'm doing. I'm also skipping all of the story cutscenes because they're stupid. And so none of us have been playing The Division, have we?
Oh,
No.
I kind of forgot about that. No, Joy and I, we both played for like probably 6 hours when we got back from the beach. Yeah. I think we're both like level 20 and 19, something like that. So we're on the right side of the map now doing all the missions.
Cool. Dave and I are planning on going back to it because we're similar level. James, you have it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should hop in together since we're kind of like behind everybody else who is playing.
I'm level like 18 or 19 on PC.
Oh, perfect. We're all like the same level. James,
yeah, I caught up. Eggert helped me caught up by basically cheating the system, and I like ranked up in like 20
power
minutes.
leveled.
It was awesome.
We should
James,
just,
what level are you?
It's got to be pretty low.
All right.
We should just pour some tea. Just no talking, just story missions, just absorbing the lore and just experiencing the game quietly.
Nah. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. We do want to get back to The Division. I definitely want to get back to it. I want to play with a group, and since we got back from the beach, it feels like we've just been catching up on various things. So
Dave, join us on PS4, Dave. We take our time and we like listen to the story and all the audio tapes and stuff like that. So
Joel, I've seen you play Witcher. You play Witcher like you're playing Rocket League. Skip.
I don't skip anything. I don't skip anything in Witcher.
I've seen you skip things in Witcher. It was back when you first started playing it, but I saw you skip things in Witcher.
Well, Yeah, probably a little bit. But comparatively to you, I mean, okay, you can't really compare, Dave, because you were on the way opposite spectrum of you won't leave a room till you've like absorbed every tiny nuance of it, which could mean 4 hours.
You say I can't compare, but I'm comparing, and boy, am I judging. On the note of the Division, though, I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but I'm actually, I don't mind at all that I haven't played in a while, because I'm looking like at some of the Reddit posts. I subscribe to the subreddit for the Division, and like the stuff that people are arguing about, like this drop ratio is not correct, like you need more plans for this, and I'm like, I haven't done any of that yet. And they're like arguing about like, we need new balance drops in this sector for this, and I'm just like, I like exploring. I don't know. I don't get the playing a game like that. I know it's an RPG shooter, but like playing it purely for the stats and just for like that new number, that does not appeal to me at all. Oh my gosh. I would uninstall it so fast if that's all it had to offer. Just not my thing.
Dave and I were talking the other day. I'm a little bit worried. Now that we've gotten farther into it, I think the gameplay is fun, like we talked about, and I think I'll probably get my 25 hours out of it easy. But why I'm glad I haven't bought the season pass yet is the way they marketed this game, especially with those first trailers that got everyone excited, is you are putting society back together. You're putting New York back together. Well, you don't appear to actually be doing any of that. It really looks like we're just killing street gangs and then moving on to other street gangs, and the gangs come back to the same area and we'll kill them again.
Actually, if anybody could put back New York, it would be Dave. They need to have
rebuild
New York for like, real simulator.
even Far Cry, which is not a game about taking outposts, and when you take outposts, you clear out whole areas and make them friendly and stuff. Like the Division doesn't even have that. It seems like an odd omission that you don't really appear to be putting anything. You don't appear to be fixing anything. You're just killing people. Does that bother anyone else?
That's solving problems.
Has anyone else noticed that?
Here's what I think is a little funny of what you're saying. Is you talk about it like very story centric, yet when we play, I feel like you skip over all the story stuff. So I'm like,
we don't really play together.
Well, we've played a few times. We played a few times on the mission. I know we repeated the same one, so I'm not counting those. But I'm saying the way you generally attempt to play games is you do skip over a lot of the story. You just get to the action and the gaming part of it. And so the gaming part of the game is shooting people. Like you got to have something to do, right? Like if you're repairing everything, then what do you have to do with other people to play with? Nothing.
No, that's all I'm saying. I'm not skipping any of the story. I'm not listening to every audio tape in the world and stuff like that. But all the cutscenes, I watch the cutscenes. I listen to what they say during the missions. Like I'm doing all of that. But all the stuff you're doing, it's like, oh, you got HVAC in the command center. You got this, you got this in the command center. What does that mean? Like that doesn't do anything. It's like checking off a box. I have this in the command center. Like it's not like you've liberated this whole area and people can move back in, or this area is outbreak free now.
My base has like tons of people in it now, like civilians that are like being helped and stuff.
I actually, and Jeremiah, that was one thing I actually disagree with you on. I think the base building is one of like the few actual rebuilding parts of the game that does work well. It just takes a lot of time to get the extra people, and they'll talk to you and stuff, and they'll stare creepily at you from behind.
But that's only your base, though. That's not doing anything for New York. It's
right.
Just...
But I'm saying that I think the base is actually where they got it right. Like it does feel like you're actually growing the base. One thing that Jeremiah said that really made me think is like it's an Ubisoft game. It's made by Massive Entertainment, but it's an Ubisoft game. Wouldn't it be cool if it had just a little bit of the Far Cry style like area you could like take over? And then reinforcements show up and kind of grow that area. Like that kind of makes sense for this game.
But that's actually what happens though when you clear a couple areas. Like you're seeing missions that we keep replaying, but once you beat a mission on your like section of the game, like if I join you, Dave, if I join your game, I'm gonna see how your game world looks. But on my world, like the various settlements, there's tons of roaming military guys, like whatever the good guys. I forget the names of the good guys. Like they're roaming, they're not. Yeah, they're all gone. Like the bad guys are gone there.
But the problem,
just see some of the thugs.
Well, here's the problem though, Joel. I think it's just two conflicting. They've got two big themes conflicting in the game. It's a somewhat story based RPG about saving New York from this pandemic, but it's also a game that's designed for you to grind and get better gear. So you can't achieve anything actually permanent because you've got to keep grinding those same missions. So even if you've cleared the area out, they're still going to throw you back into the same story mission over and over again, or they expect you to do that if you want to keep getting better gear, if you want to do the end game. Unless they've got more stuff they haven't released yet, but people were hitting end game within, a week, and they haven't really given them much to do beyond that, other than incursions, which are just raids. So to me, it's two conflicting ideals of like, yeah, like what you're saying, you're clearing stuff out and there's JTF people walking around, but then you're still going to grind the same mission where the street gang's back over and over again. Like it doesn't really feel to me like I'm actually making a real difference.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't agree with that, because
that's fine.
We've had a lot of fun. I guess I think one thing I think you need to watch what you say when you say like, people they play for a week and they're done.
I didn't say that.
Well, you said, like people are like level up to 30 and that's kind of like they kind of finished the game,
I didn't
that's
say
a lot.
that.
What'd you say? Were you talking about one
I
week
said
then?
They've hit max level and now they're doing end game content, and there isn't really a whole lot
I guess
to
when
do.
you say that, it's kind of like I think that's a big thing to say, because for most people, it's not 1 week and they're at max 30. That's not most people. That is a fairly small, hardcore group of people that just rip through it. I've been playing for weeks and weeks. I think I've got, 30 something hours on it. I'm level 20. Like, we've played quite a bit, and I've replayed lots of missions. So you have to really hardcore through the game to like really max that fast. And I think that group of people is much more vocal and annoying than the people that are just playing the game. I'd say a little bit more regular, like not like they can just have 70 hours in a whole week to play the game, I think.
Okay, but that doesn't. But
I was just gonna say, with all the story elements we've read, like it feels like we are actually saving things. Like we're not like you're not seeing like brand new buildings or coming up or anything like that. But I feel like with the story, we keep on having areas that have the military there, like yay, and they keep on saying you guys are doing a great job and stuff like
oh nice.
And we do the new mission. So it's not a lot, but it's like it feels the same way, I guess, like Skyrim a little bit, but I don't know.
Okay, that's
moving on. If
you enjoy it, that's fine. It's not a big deal.
Looking forward to seeing more of that then.
Yeah, we'll see. But now onto the main topic tonight. We're going to talk about cheating, and this is actually a topic that was suggested by Casual Shenanigans community member Ben Amishman. He sent this in to me, and he said, "What constitutes real cheating in games? What's acceptable? What's going too far? What are the consequences of cheating?" So there's lots of different types of cheating in games. So instead of just going, oh, well, cheating's wrong, we're going to talk about some examples he gave and then some examples we came up with. What really do we consider to be cheating, and what is unfair, and what's maybe acceptable? So the first one would be speedrunning glitches and shortcuts. Like if you look on any speedrun, the whole game of speedrunning is like figuring out how you can break the game to get through it as quickly as possible. And that's all in single player games. So personally, I have no issue with that. Do you guys?
No, well, there's a difference. If you're doing a original speed run where like you have to do everything, you can't like hack, cheat the system or like hack a wall.
But those are a separate category of speed runs.
Yeah. So if it's a separate category, no, because it's a different kind of game. Like you wouldn't consider that cheating, where it's like, hey, you do whatever it takes to be the first, and that's if that's the rules, it's fine. Yeah,
I think it's cheapening.
Yeah,
cheapening the effort to do a speed run when you use glitches and stuff, but there
are two types. There are people who the whole game is glitching it, and there are people who want to do it as pure as possible. So as long as those two are kept separate, I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah, and they're not comparing themselves to the speed runs of people that like you can't, like in Dark Souls, there's a regular speed runner which is like like 2 hours or something like that. Then there's the hack speed run which is like 35 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like that you like break something, fall down an elevator and everything like that. It's totally two different things. So it's whatever your taste is, but that's I wouldn't call that cheating unless both people are supposed to be doing the same thing and one guy cheats and then you're not supposed to do that, then that would be cheating.
One way I'll say it definitely hurts people. There's a good example. The Forza track leaderboards are totally broken right now because people are figuring out ways to kind of hack the track and get around. Unless somebody watches their gameplay, they won't necessarily know that it's cheating, because it's not actually cheating. They're doing things like they'll slow down and then cut a corner way early and bash through a tire wall, because the amount of time it takes to bash through the tire wall is slightly shorter than the amount of time it takes to just do the turn correctly. and it would get you disqualified in a real race. But if nobody's watching your footage, nobody knows the difference. Like, and people can watch your footage. So some of those people are getting, highlighted, but they're still not doing anything about it. But all of the top times on the leaderboards are taken up by people who are figuring out how to cut corners harder, figuring out how to bounce the car over sections. Like, they're not like glitching and falling through the track. They're just figuring out how to do stuff that isn't illegal. Like, it isn't technically against the rules, but you would definitely be disqualified in any real racing situation.
That happened all the time in Mario Kart. Like, you could do this little hop, and if you did it perfectly, you could literally hop across the track to the next part, and then, you'd finish in like 15 seconds. It was like, what the heck? I was like, how are people finishing in 15 seconds?
All right, so here's another one.
Sorry,
in World of Warcraft, what?
What game was that, Joel?
Mario Kart.
Oh, okay. Because you could do the same thing in F-Zero.
Really?
You're like where you like hit a jump a certain way and you like skip half the track.
I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen that one.
In World of Warcraft,
I know Shane knows what I'm talking about.
Ben said he edited his model and things in the game world for aesthetic purposes. Like, all the other players see the exact same thing they always see. It's just how it appears to you. Do you guys have any issue with that?
Say that one more time.
He said he modeled or edited his character model and things in the game world for aesthetic reasons. They don't make you play any better. They just look different for you. It doesn't look different for anyone else. It's only for you.
I think right off the bat, there's a definite, if fuzzy, line between cheating in single-player games and multiplayer. Now, in his case, it's really more of modding than cheating, because it's not giving him an advantage as a player, but it's still changing the game in an environment where there are other players, and that's where I think it starts to get a little bit gray.
Like in DayZ, where people would turn the foliage down as far as humanly possible because it made it harder for players to hide at distance.
Before there was archive checking, people were deleting their vegetation like archive files, and the game would just not render any trees whatsoever. There are people playing the game with just the terrain and no trees so they could snipe people. That's a very clear example of definitely cheating. You have an extreme advantage there. What if they change the tree model to like a fall color one because they like the look better, and the game didn't stop that? What do you guys think about that?
That's one of those things where
I'm okay with the modifications for visual, like to enhance. I mean, people add textures and stuff to games all the time, but you have to be pretty crappy of a person to just want to turn everything off just to snipe people for fun. Like, that's a weird type of fun.
Like, on paper, I'm fine with that, but I think if I was setting up a multiplayer game, I would absolutely require everybody to be in the exact same version, like with file checks and everything. Like, I absolutely
file
would not
comparisons
allow,
and
I wouldn't allow anything because there's so much, like, people are like, well, I just want to change how it looks, and there's like a very small step between that and the way I like happens to be the way that lets me see people easier. Like,
I don't like trees. Trees.
I mean, here's even a simple thing, like in Halo, like when they started allowing you to change the customize of your armor, like they would play on maps that would be maybe silver or something, a metallic like map. And so their character would be very silver, and it was very hard to like see certain characters because they would blend into the walls, or like if you're playing the red versus blue or something like that, and you're in the blue area, it's you can't see them at all. If you're the red character, they pop out easily,
All right, what about single player console commands or cinematic tools? Anyone have any issue with those?
Don't care.
Yeah.
I love them. I actually, like, to me, any game that has any kind of cinematic options, like for tools, like actually adds value for me. Like, I actually look for that in games.
Justin from Dollarwise Gamers brings up in chat, I thought about turning down my graphic settings for Arma 3 to get rid of ground clutter to see the baddies better. Now, that's a co-op game, but you can play PvP in Arma. And that's not actually cheating because you're using the in-game graphics options. But what would you think about everybody can do it? Most people won't because they want it to look as good as possible. But what do you think should be done there?
Yeah, I would say
I think you should be banned from playing with us from now on.
Wait, how?
Yeah, I think it's a confession. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and just ban his ID from the server.
Now, Joel, would you say it's cheating? Let me challenge you on that, because everybody else can turn theirs down too. It's not. It's doing it in-game options. It's not changing anything outside of the game. It's using the same options everyone has equal access to.
I mean, again, I would say if you're turning it down for that reason, I would say, yeah, it's cheating. if you're turning it down because your computer just can't run it. I mean, because it's like the same thing. Like, as someone who has a shitty computer and barely can run the game, is he cheating because he can see through stuff because he simply can't play higher? You know what I mean? No, but I think the thought of it is, yeah, I mean, if that's what you're going for, yeah, you're cheating, man. You're being a dick. But if you can't run and you have to have a lower, then whatever, you know.
It's worth pointing out in our case,
people have to deal with it.
We're playing Arma co-op, so there is no, like, there's nobody to cheat it against, so it's definitely
But
not.
if you're playing, I guess I meant cheating in the sense of multiplayer, like,
right.
You know.
And actually, I think Bohemia
here's the ethical question on that. So say he's doing that because he's not as good as you guys. So he's turning down his settings to make himself look like a better player in front of you.
The dick.
Well, yeah,
that might not be cheating, but is it ethically?
That's still pretty dickish. Now I would I would say that'd be like if you're just like, oh well, everyone's so good. I'm like, I want to be as good as them. Yeah,
I'm just talking about if you're just playing co-op.
Am I all right? So in
co-op.
In co-op, am I a dick because I'm running at 4K resolution and I can spot people at distances where they're literally like 2 pixels on other people's screens and I can see actual person?
Yes, because you mentioned your 4K like every other sentence.
Exactly,
yes,
exactly. So when I'm on my 4K monitor, no, but
EP is 4K.
What's the difference? Should I have to play at the same resolution to everybody else? Like,
yes,
why can't
you should level the playing field, Jeremiah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was gonna say Bohemia has actually partially answered the question of like vegetation, because if you turn it down enough, they'll do things like make player characters or like AI that are kind of supposed to be hidden in a bush. If that bush is not rendering, they'll like make the AI like 75% opaque instead of 100%, kind of hide them a bit against the terrain, or a distance they'll sink them into the terrain more if you don't have grass out there to try to like level the playing field, even if you're not rendering the trees. So I think Bohemia is kind of implying like there are some balance issues there that, so maybe they'd lean more towards it's a little unfair at least.
Yeah,
but there's a difference between slightly unfair and cheating, though. That's
exactly.
Like, it's something like Arma. I think. I mean, it can be very competitive, but also the nature of it is not that. It's not like an e-sport competitive game either, you know. But it can be very sandboxy. But it can also be very annoying when you have a group. It's the same thing when we played DayZ. When you had groups who were like sniping you out of nowhere, and you're like, how the crap did they do that? And you find out, oh, they've been doing the wall glitch or whatever. You know, it's. Even I like like you're saying with the 4K, like, yeah, you have obviously a better advantage, you know, over my 1440p screen or my computer not being able to run it as well. Or even like playing Rocket League between PC and that, you know, you guys can see a little bit better with anisotropic and higher resolutions and stuff like that. Like, for me, I would say you're not cheating. Like, that's your system.
Hyper thrashing.
I think it has to come down to like, what is your motives? You know what I mean? If you're doing it for a specific motive, then I would say you're being a dick. But like, just wanting to have a higher end PC to play it better, that's not cheating. The game is allowed to be run like that. I think it comes down to the motive. But the one idea I thought James was mentioning, I was going to go a little bit further. What if, let's say, you guys are really good at Arma, right? You guys are really good at Arma, and every time I play, I suck, which I do, okay? But let's say I wanted to be able to turn the graphics down because so I can actually have fun, right? So I can just enjoy the game. Is that cheating?
I think in a co-op game, there's a lot more wiggle room for that kind of thing. I think that's a lot more acceptable in a co-op game. Where our goal in Arma is to have fun as a group. You know, we're not doing PvP. It's not really that competitive. It's a sandbox where the whole goal is to have fun. I think there is more room for that kind of thing there. Yeah.
Like, I don't think I would actually tell you guys because I don't think it'd be a problem. I wouldn't be like, hey guys, just letting you know, my textures are down low. I can see more. I think I would mention it if for some reason, like I'm playing and all of a sudden now I'm like no scoping everybody like left and right, and you're like, holy crap, why is Joel so? I was like, oh guys, my graphics are down low. I'd probably mention it, you know, if it seems like a big difference.
All right. Here's the easy one. Aimbotting. Everyone's in agreement. Definitely cheating.
Shit.
Yeah.
Cheating.
All right.
Cheaters.
Here's one.
Hold on a second. It's single player, who cares?
Well, right, but we're talking multiplayer, like the standard.
I mean, multiplayer,
Battlefield,
absolutely never.
Call of Duty, aimbotting.
And the thing with aimbotting too that really gets under my skin is like not only is it completely destructive in a multiplayer environment, but there are programmers, you know, kind of black hat programmers who are making literally millions of dollars off of like monthly subscriptions for some of these hacks for popular games. Anywhere from, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to millions for some people. It's kind of like not really talked about a whole lot. So it's like they're profiting off of the destruction of someone else's product, essentially. It really, really bothers me.
Here's one.
I think that's probably one of the lowest forms of cheating.
Yeah, Absolutely.
honestly. I mean, if you're going to play a competitive game, but you don't want to actually compete, why? I mean, I think those are more likely the people to be trolls on internet forums and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're not gonna have you're not having fun with the aimbot. You're having fun at the expense of others. If that was how everyone played the game, you would not be enjoying the game. But because you have this super, because you have this insane like edge on everyone, you're just laughing at everyone. That's literally straight because you're like,
it's just trolling. It's trolling.
Yeah.
All right. So here's one that's a little more gray for our group. GTA money hacks. Now, I will say with certainty, no one in our group hacks GTA to drop money on the ground, but quite a few of us have been in servers where hackers start doing stuff. And here's the cool thing about GTA hackers, cool/interesting, depending on your perspective. They'll do like, hey, everybody, show up to this one place, like for fun times. So you show up, like they'll type it in chat. You show up and they've got like a school bus and like all aboard the magic school bus. So we all hopped on the school bus and they flew us out to this island, like at the north end of the map. And then like, I forget what happened next. Then they were like throwing cop cars out of the sky, like in fireworks just exploding on the ground. Like it was just funny. Like nothing bad was happening. And they started dropping bags of money. So bags of money are dropping on you. So you make like hundreds of thousands of dollars by not really doing anything. You fly on the magic school bus, like it flies to the sky. And then one guy like landed a UFO on the airfield. I'm not even sure why there's one of those in the game, but he landed a UFO and like people were hopping into it. Like, so we have definitely been in servers. Like anytime there's a hacker, it's almost always a really fun evening. Like it's just something you have no idea what's going to happen. The worst that's ever happened is they took all our weapons away and we had to go buy the weapons again. But that's like chump change, you know? And here's the thing in GTA, it's not an actual economy. Like there's unlimited money.
There's no consequences for death, basically.
Right, there's no consequence for death. There's the money, all it gets you is more stuff. And you can pay Rockstar to get additional in-game money to get that stuff if you want, with their shark cards, but hackers seem to take issue with how expensive the shark cards are, and that seems to be like where most of that stems from. So we have not done any of the hacking. Again, I can only speak for like the immediate group. We definitely have not done any hacking, but we've been in servers where people have been doing that. So by extension, we have received some of this money and whatever's going on, like being flown around in a school bus. So where do you guys stand on that?
The mentioning the developers, the only gray area I think really is that because that is something they offer. I mean, they will sell you money in the game, which sounds really weird to say.
Fake money.
But even though it's not a real economy, that is kind of a form of stealing for those people that use that.
Right.
With that said, I actually really enjoy people that use hacks for the purpose of
entertainment,
entertaining other people.
Yeah.
There are people that will do it just to like laugh and pick on people.
Right.
And then there are others that will do their hacks for the purpose of, I'm going to try to make these people laugh. I'm going to try to make them remember this experience, not as in, I remember this because it sucked. I remember it because, you know, that was really funny. That I've never seen that happen before.
And I'll say, just for full disclosure, I deposited the money in my bank. I bought some supercars. I had a great time. I spent it guilt-free.
Yeah, I was playing with John. I was like, well, you don't know if the guy actually hacked the money. He could be just playing 100 hours a day all the time somehow. And he has
Debbie.
all the, yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, yeah, Debbie could probably share like $14 million, like nothing.
Actually, Debbie has over $20 million.
What the?
No, hold on. Because people were throwing money around in servers.
Oh, okay.
We've all legitimately earned millions of dollars, but some of these
Not
hackers,
all of us.
That's true. Some of these hackers have given away tens of millions of dollars. So when you're looking at yachts now in game, it costs like 7 million or something. Like, yeah, it starts to go up there. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I could see how people would, and I don't blame Rockstar for banning those people. But like James said, as long as they're not malicious, I don't mind if they do it. Like, to me, that doesn't seem like they're cheating really in the game. They're maybe like they should be paying Rockstar for some of this money, but they're not hurting the experience for the other players.
Now, the only thing I would say, even I would agree with James on the fact that, you know, the money they're giving away is not really theirs. If they stole it themselves, they hacked it themselves. is I have actually bought Shark Money. I bought it. I just bought one. I think I bought a $10 one because I was just like, I hate grinding in the game because I played it already enough. I just don't like the races.
It's not grinding when you're with friends. They've added so many things though.
They have
played like 10% of GTA Online.
Well, they've upped the amount of money they give away now, actually, compared to when I was first playing. But anyways, I bought it. But I bought, I think, $1 million worth of in-game money, right? And then I remember John, like the next day, someone hacked in, and then he had like $40 million, something ridiculous. I was like, "You son of a bitch!"
But you'll never buy a card again, more than likely, correct?
What's that?
You'll probably never buy a card again.
I haven't because I mean, John gave me money
because you know you can get money from someone else.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So I agree with James on the fact that it can be cool they gave money, but that's also screwing over the developer a little bit. Now, I think I hate the idea that
screwing over the developer that's giving you so much free content.
That's worth mentioning. Now, a lot of people think to a lot of people, it doesn't feel like they're screwing over Rockstar because they did sell 50 million copies. But in the same way, it's something they're offering that people, probably should be paying for if they want it. But at the same time,
more of those shark cards are probably helping to pay and to keep the multiplayer going. To keep them doing more free DLC, more
quite possibly,
stuff.
Yeah.
It could be.
I don't think it matters how much money they made on the game, ethically. I mean, it's like
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Stealing a pack of gum from a mom and pop store versus Walmart. Walmart obviously makes a ton of money, but ethically, I don't think there's any difference.
But remember, it's also like a massive company with tons of people too. Like even learning about like movie stuff, like I've like researched like production companies and stuff. You think like, oh man, like they spent $40 for $40 million to make a movie, and for me that seems like sky's the limit, right? But then when you think about, think of like the stuff they did. They had to go in the desert, like for Mad Max. They had to be in the desert, like miles and miles away from society. You have to travel, you have to bring water, you have to have medical supplies, you have to have police, like you have to have all sorts of stuff. So you're paying like $150,000 to $250,000 sometimes a day, So it's like, it's not cheap at all. So it's kind of like, oh man, they made $600 million box office. It's like, well, they kind of needed to make that just to make even, because like it's a big deal. So I think, especially with GTA, it's like, well, they made $50 billion. Like, well, it also probably cost a shitload, and their servers cost a crap load, and they got to do all this and that. So, I mean, I don't like shark cards. I think it's just, I hate when any game has to do that. But if that's the rules they set, stealing is still stealing, and, mess around or whatever.
All right, here's a wildly different thing. Scuff controllers with like speed switches on them, mice with adjustable DPI, macro keys on keyboards. What do you guys think about all those?
Joel begged me to use a controller for the last Fallout tour because he said that he got queasy watching me with a mouse and keyboard on the last tour. I don't.
If it's on your own, I don't think it's cheating.
Well, no, people buy those for multiplayer though. Like the scuff controllers and stuff, those are for multiplayer. That's
a really interesting question.
It's just douchey.
Yeah.
I don't have the capability of competing with my own skills, so I have to rely on technology.
Or they're already good and they want a little bit of an advantage. It's like professional athletes taking steroids. They were already really good, but everyone else is doing it, so they feel like they have to do it to stay competitive.
Did you guys know there's competitive ways of holding a mouse?
Yeah.
Like you can watch videos about professional how to hold a mouse, and none of us do that. So it's like the people that maybe have the really crazy high DPI. I mean, Dave already has his DPI up and insane. There's nothing wrong with someone having four times
high
that amount.
Not high DPI. How about DPI switching, where like if I pull out a sniper rifle, I can hit one button and drop to a super low DPI, snipe somebody, hit a button, flip back up.
That I think is shit. Because you can go in the setting. But I don't know. You can go into settings and you can adjust like slow, like if you zoom in, like some games, but not all games you can do that.
Right.
For games you can't do it, and I don't know. Actually,
because that's a hard question to answer. You're not breaking the game. You're doing something that everybody has the equal ability to do if they have this equipment. But then it kind of puts a little bit of a price gate on it. like anything in PC gaming can be, like there's always somebody with a CRT monitor from like the mid 90s and with a Dell pre-built computer, and they will wreck you at CSGO just because they're that good. But most of the time, if you can run at 120 FPS, if you have like a high DPI precise mouse, if you have like a really sensitive keyboard, you will have a little bit of an advantage over somebody who has like a laptop with like a $10 Logitech plugged into it. Like there is an equipment difference. And on consoles, there aren't that many things you can do, but SCUF controllers are definitely one of them.
That's different though. I mean, we're talking adjustable DPI and, higher frame rate monitors compared to a button you can hold down that'll automatically shoot for you.
That's true. Yeah, I guess I put SCUF.
Having a macros key set. It's just,
if it's a gray area, SCUF is a little darker.
Yeah.
I mean, you have things like auto hotkey too. Like, what if you're playing an MMO and you have an auto hotkey script to harvest plants for you or something to save yourself time? Is that cheating? Is
it a competitive? Is it a competitive component to the game? I guess that's where I draw the line. If it helps you when you're not doing something competitive against something else, I just don't care.
That might be a pretty good general standard. Yeah, is it competitive? Interesting.
I mean, it doesn't make being a cheater is not like obviously the difference between cheating and being like a bannable offense cheating and then just being a douchebag that I don't want to play with cheating. Mm-hmm. I think that there's that differentiation also.
And it's not like it's just games either. Like in every sport, there's always people who they want to find out exactly what the rules are, and they'll follow the letter of the law, but they're definitely the spirit of the law they're not following. Like NASCAR had this scandal years ago where where some drivers, like your car had to be a certain weight at the start of the race. And it knows that it's going to vary because your tires burn off the rubber and your fuel goes down and stuff. So the weight of the car changes, but it has to be this weight at the start of the race. So people were taking hollow tube frame cars and filling them with BBs to reach a certain weight. And then when they get out on the track, they would open a little latch and then be dropping like 100 pounds, 150 pounds of BBs out on the track, a few at a time. So your car gradually gets significantly lighter over the course of the race, and you have an advantage by the end. Like,
I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
But they're following the letter of the law. But the
Could they not
spirit
fill their
of the
car
law
with
is
water or
definitely
something to have it evaporate as they go?
Well, no, I mean, people have done that too. They made some more rules after that. But
that's okay, first of all, I'm impressed and a little disgusted.
and they know they're cheating. They know they're cheating. Whether they know that like they're reading the law, but they know they're cheating. There's bullshitting around
there's
that.
always people are going to do that. They're not technically cheating.
But they're technically cheating.
But no, they're not technically cheating, but they're cheating.
They're technically cheating.
Like I always say, no, they're not. Joel, technically, it's a specific term. They are not technically cheating, but they're
technically
cheating.
being dicks.
Yes, exactly. Like I always say, the technically right is the best type of right to be. If you're going to argue about it, you might as well be technically right.
And no one likes you, ever.
This is court of law right, not ethically right.
All right, now the next thing. Is this cheating? Having Shane on your Rocket League team?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Shane needs to be banned from the game. I think it's in the interest of the community, the developers, and just society as a whole.
All right, Dave, is it cheating if Ben has a Night Stalker scope in Arma?
I don't think it's cheating, but I think it can very quickly get boring, which is why we banned it. Because if he's the only person that has it, and we're trying to have fun, and everyone wants a piece of the action, and we're gonna have 60 bad guys in the mission, and Ben can see all 60 from the spawn point on thermal vision, that's not gonna be fun for everyone else. It's not cheating, but it's a competitive advantage that in a co-op game is too much of a competitive advantage because he takes all the fun for himself. It's like giving Chris a helicopter in Arma.
Now, what about having Tyler's young eyes and quick young reflexes that haven't been burdened by time and age? Because in pretty much every game, Tyler just wrecks face. He's wreckfast.
That's fine.
That's fine. Okay, that's
fine.
Cool. Good.
I mean, you think about athletes in sports, usually there's a period where they start dropping off in their effectiveness. And
Basically, guys, our time's over. Now is the time of the memers. It's all over now.
The meme team.
memers.
The meme team. Joel.
Joel, your face, you don't even know what that means.
You're like, it's not it's the children who are wrong.
I'm disgusted by those words.
I'm disgusted by those words.
Get off my lawn.
Now, Joel, speaking of someone who's now coming off a real high moral horse right now, what if you and your bro are doing a naked playthrough of Dark Souls 2 where you don't wear clothes or have weapons and you just punch enemies?
Yeah.
And you don't want to cheat, but there's a boss you can't beat. So you're like, Jeremiah, why don't we spawn you in and you can have a sword and we'll dance in the background and go, ooh, and you attack the enemies. Is that cheating?
Well, not according to our rules, because we said we have to summon someone in.
It's technically not cheating.
No. Well, our rules were we had to summon someone else. I mean, like, we don't have to summon anyone in, but that's the only way we can beat any bosses.
But you have to.
Yeah, we have to summon people in. So, but online wasn't really working, so we had to summon someone in, and you were there to play. I mean, we would much rather summon someone else in with skill, but
right, you'd much rather have anybody else, but I was there. I didn't actually end up doing it. Who did? James, you did it, right?
No, it was Dave.
Dave did it. Dave did it. Thanks, Dave. Now here's the last one.
It's not cheating in Dark Souls if it's Jeremiah.
Walk through. Just wait, you dicks. You'll ask me how Dark Souls 3 is going, and we're just not going to talk about it.
There's aimbotting, and then there's Jeremiah, which is the exact opposite.
Opposite of aimbotting?
Can you at least promise me you'll tell me if you did really enjoy it? If it's like clicking this time, maybe?
I will be honest for the review that we're doing in 2 weeks' time on the podcast.
I'm honestly not going to ask.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you actually really, really enjoy it, it's like, wow, I'm really enjoying this time around.
But you just sidle up to me, put your arm around my shoulders, be like, "Hey, Jeremiah, those training wheels come off yet? Are you, did you learn how to block or what's up?" Last thing, walkthroughs and guides. This is for single player games, like walkthroughs. If it's a puzzle based RPG or something like that, is a walkthrough or a guide cheating?
I mean, technically it's cheating, but who cares?
But it's not bad cheating. I mean, like, you're cheating. You might be cheating yourself out of an experience.
Exactly.
But I mean, if you're having fun, that's the way you want to play. Like, fine. I mean,
it doesn't affect other people.
You know, I mean, James would, in Fallout 3 in New Vegas or Fable, he would. I mean, okay, I did this in Fable. I kept my controller in, and I just left the game on like the entire day as I'm just racking up money. But that was part of the whole game.
Wait, you played on Xbox, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
You didn't do that? No, yeah, you
did. I did the clock thing.
Oh, that's what it was.
I uninstalled the patch, changed my clock to like 50 years in the future. Then went back and I was like, rich beyond compare.
I can actually top that. One quick cheating example. We'll get back to the walkthroughs. My dad downloaded Candy Crush on his phone. He doesn't play games on his phone, but he heard about Candy Crush, so he downloaded it. But you only get a certain free amount per day.
Did he hear about it from like 600 different people?
But you only get a certain amount of moves per day, and then for the free version, you can't play anymore. You have to wait till the next day. Or you can buy more turns. Or you can reset the phone's clock to the next day. And it gives you those turns back. So my dad was like 25 years in the future playing Candy Crush on his rooted phone. But back to the walkthroughs. Someone said if you're playing a puzzle game, someone in the chat said if you're playing a puzzle game, you shouldn't use a walkthrough. I have definitely used a walkthrough because the way I feel at this point for a single player game, I do have a more limited amount of time to play games than I did when I was young. I want to enjoy a game. If it's a single player game, I have no issue with if I'm stuck on a part and I've gotten to the point where I'm no longer enjoying trying to solve the problem. Yeah, I'll go look it up. Like if it's preventing me from enjoying the game and from progressing, I'll look it up just because it's not worth getting frustrated over it because like I've got better stuff to do than be frustrated over a game when I could just proceed past it.
Now, me and John, we've done that in Dark Souls. I mean, we get to a point where we try to play. I mean, since it's both of us, we've kind of been playing together since we played Dark Souls 1 kind of together at the same time. We would, if I got stuck for a very long period of time and John maybe figured something else to get past it, he would let me know. Like, do you remember the part in Dark Souls 2 towards the end? You had to get through this certain door. And you're like, how the crap do you get it open? Well, you actually had to kill certain enemies by the door and their souls would like go into like a little lamp thing. I was there like for hours. I just couldn't figure it out. And John was like, you want me to tell you? I was like, no, I want to figure it out. And then after a certain amount of time, I was like, I don't want you to get too far ahead. I want to still play with you. Let me know what's going on. So he gave me a hint. So yeah, no, I don't think it's cheating. I think it's really cheating. I think is really more specific to like multiplayer when you have an edge over someone else and you have bad motives. You may be ruining the game for you, because I really hate mods and any kind of codes or anything before I finish a main game, because I tend to go down into the dark deeds of mods where like once I start using a mod, it's really hard to not use a mod anymore. So let's say you try something out that's really fun that gives you a really powerful sword or whatever. All of a sudden going back to the main game and you have the weak swords again, all of a sudden it ruins the like impact of getting a good sword. Because you like, well, I just had a gun that could shoot everyone immediately. So I usually don't tamper with any of that because I feel like I'm actually going to ruin the game for myself.
I thought of one that's not on our list.
Okay.
Server hopping.
Ooh. Now, does that apply to anything other than DayZ?
I'm not sure, but that was a big one.
Survival games that you have like a global, like, character system, maybe.
I mean, like Guild Wars and stuff. You could
now,
that.
There's two forms of server hopping. There's server hopping where people server hop to get in behind you and get an advantage on you, and then there's like cheating. What we did. Okay. Do you consider it cheating when we would server hop to get to a town without having to wade through all the crap going on around it?
Yeah,
we actually do that?
We do, sometimes.
I don't.
We occasionally we would hop to a clean server to travel around.
Say, we'll meet up in here, then we'll hop on a different server.
Yeah, then we'll hop to a populated server to go see people.
That's happened.
Because you want to meet up without getting shot by randoms.
Yeah, we may have joined a lower population server to meet up, but we never actually we're in a server and
not as a tactical advantage.
Let's change to like a quiet one to move around. We never actually did that. No.
We met up in quiet ones and then changed to busier ones to see people. But do you consider that? I don't think it's cheating because it's not done with a malicious intent. But one person's
and
not
we didn't really take
intent.
Advantage of anything, really.
We don't feel like we did. But again, that's a gray area.
Of the fact that you can loot without resistance.
Exactly. It is definitely a gray area.
It's against the spirit of the game, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a gray area.
Some people might want to just play on low population servers all the time. Like maybe they don't have any friends to play with, and they just want like a few people on the server, and they just play it by themselves. Like maybe that's just their experience.
But there's nothing wrong with playing on low pop server. It's more of we used the low pop server to find each other, and then we jumped into a higher pop server.
But that's not the only reason why we did low pop servers.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
What's that?
If we're being honest.
It's not the reason we did low pop servers?
Not the only reason we use low pop servers.
What's the other reason?
To loot and to gear up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then hop into a full server now that we've all geared up, being able to go to a military base, knowing that we're not going to run into a bunch of players.
Now, I would say we did that, but it's one of those things where most people do it. So I'm not saying that makes it right, but like most people do it and it's not against the game rules. It's like a commonly accepted tactic. So I guess I'm fine with it. Obviously I'm fine with it because we did it, but like I'm fine with it because it's not getting an advantage over other people that they can't also have over you. Like everybody is still on the same playing field with what they can do.
I mean, you could everybody can buy hacks. Everybody can. Anybody can do any one of those things on the list. Everybody has that capability.
That's breaking game rules, though. This we're not breaking game rules, and we're doing something that everyone else can do. Like there's no, and people do it even accidentally. It's not like it's something you have to choose to do either. You can just randomly end up in a low pop server. Like there's no.
I mean, I'm not going to stop doing it. I'm not going to say that.
Well, I
enjoy doing it, but I do think it is a little bit of an unfair advantage, and I think it's a little low. I enjoy doing it.
I think it's something they should, by the final game release, they should figure out a way to where that's not necessary. Like I don't think that should be a thing in the final release because they should solve the reason why people do it instead of just banning that.
I'm actually really surprised to hear you guys think that looting on a low population server is an advantage because it's actually very well known that if you are, like say, if you're just going to a low pop server and you go to the military base to get the loot in DayZ, that's actually extremely dangerous because you have a very high chance of running into players who are spawning in at that military base, logging in, running into the base and then right back out to like the wall.
Nowhere
and then
near
changing
as much
servers
as a
again.
regular one, though. Nowhere near as much.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
possible
not-
fear, and
it's
I
not
heard
like-
that fear many times.
it is absolutely well known
Well,
that you have a much higher chance of finding server hoppers on high loot areas on a low population server than on a full server. You have less of a chance of seeing someone at a
I've
military
never seen
base
that
on a
happen
full
once.
server than on a server with 5 people. Because on a server with 5 people, you have a very high chance of finding someone who is just hopping at that location from server to server.
You have a much higher chance.
You say that.
Hold on. You have a much higher chance finding a server hopper, but it's not like on a high pop server if you're going through Berezino or Electro when Electro was a hot spot where like you're basically walking into a death trap because there are going to be people everywhere killing you. Like there's a difference. You have a greater chance of running into a hopper at one of those on a low pop server, but you have a much greater chance of being killed on a high pop server.
Yeah,
So
I'll agree with
even though
that.
if you have one certain disadvantage, overall you're a lot safer on a low pop server, and that's
I would also say
Only
the
overall,
times
though.
the times that we've gone to the military bases when there's only a few people on a server versus when we do it like we've ever done it with 30 people on. We were a lot more intense when the 30 one because there's a higher chance of us running into people there.
Yeah.
I've
So
definitely been killed more often on low population servers at like the Northwest Airfield and like military bases than on, at least in standalone, than in high population servers. Just
Okay.
from my experiences.
I mean, it's all kind of subjective when it comes to that anyway. I think
So let me throw the last one in there for Daisy.
Yeah.
And that's duping.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
cheating.
that's a bannable offense. Bohemia answered that question for us.
Now, we have been very open in the past. We have done it before, not in standalone. In the mod, when the game would delete your stuff, we duped stuff to make up for that. So, but we weren't duping to get ahead. We were duping to stay even.
Well, it wasn't intentional either. Our server wouldn't stop duping. Those stupid broken tents, we come back to our base and we have like 9 tents stacked up. Like the whole loot system was very broken back in the mod. And our poor server, it was a shared server, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure like
No,
we
it's
didn't have
just
it
us.
dedicated.
No, it's dedicated.
No.
the
A shared box. Like
Right.
that poor thing struggled. I did a lot of the admin back in our DayZ server, and it never worked like it was supposed to.
But yeah, I think duping in the standalone is definitely wrong. I think what we did duping in the mod, I don't think is wrong because we were trying to stay up with our stuff that was getting deleted. And that was like Dave said, the accidental duping. The duping where like we discovered those tents in the woods where these guys had like dozens and dozens and dozens of guns and were stealing all the vehicles and stuff. That's definitely wrong because that's trying to get an advantage over other players.
But I was more than happy to take from their stealing.
Oh, we did. We
cheating.
took it all. We flattened the tents.
I was freaking Robin Hood that night.
I mean, the unlimited drum mag.
I was about to say, here's one for you guys for DayZ. The hackers that spawn in the unlimited ammo drum mags, picking one up off their bodies. You didn't hack it in, but is using that cheating.
If you use it on other players, if you want to like run around and screw around and kill zombies for a few minutes, I don't care. If you then take it into combat for the next month or two, yes.
I'll agree. It's cheating.
I think
We've actually found them and then ditched them.
Yeah.
Throw them in the ocean. That's what I love to do with those. If you find them and just cast it out to sea.
But I think where we probably would all agree ending this topic is intent is the important thing. And well-designed games shouldn't require you to bend the rules at all in order to have a good experience. Like, you shouldn't need to. But in any of those cases, like we said, I think intent is the biggest thing. So if there are things you can do that just enhance the experience for you and the intent is not to hurt other people and they don't directly hurt other people, then it's probably fine. If anything you're doing is going to, if the main reason you're doing it is to get a leg up on someone else, get ahead of everybody else, then, you know, it's probably
Get
at
good,
least,
son.
it's at least in a gray area. And then of course, aimbotting and outright hacking and stuff is of course cheating. Would you guys agree or disagree? Is that
Agree.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
But thank you, Ben, for the topic suggestion. I thought that was a lot of stuff like you hadn't really thought to talk about before. Like I'm realizing all these ways I may have been passively cheating for years, like with my adjustable DPI mouse. Although, actually, if I'm being honest on the mouse thing, I'm normally too lazy to switch it. Like when I go to snipe, I'm like, it's gotta click the button. It's fine. But Okay.
I do remember, speaking of single player games, just briefly, I came very close to ruining my Oblivion playthrough because it was a big game. I love the exploring parts of big RPGs like that. And back in the Oblivion day, I used to use like console commands just to like increase my XP gain rate, get like a little extra coins so I can get that armor a bit earlier. But then I started doing it more and more often, and finally I had to scale it back. And I was just like, all right, let me just throw a bunch of this stuff away because like eventually I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to be so powerful that even the exploring won't be enough to keep me going. Like even in single player, you got to be careful that you don't ruin your own experience. Yeah, good topic for sure.
It's now news time.
News time.
All right, this.
I don't feel like your heart was in that, Joel.
No, not much of it.
Oh, why not, Joel?
I don't know why, because I just caught me off guard and I just did it and I realized I didn't put my heart into it. News time.
That's better.
Okay,
I feel it. I felt it.
This first item comes from BuzzFeed, from all places. BuzzFeed Net.
See you guys.
There have been on Intel's website. Apparently, they accidentally published some website pages confirming their new processors, and then I believe pulled them. But they've got some new processors. The chief among them is the i7-6950X, which is a 10-core hyper-threaded processor. So 10 cores, 20 threads.
Yeah.
Dang, Dave, it's time to upgrade.
Wait, okay.
Dave's beard is tingling.
No, even better, it runs on socket LGA 2011. It runs on the same socket as the 6900K, the 6850K, and the 6800K, which are 8-core and then 2 6-core processors. The 6950X has 25 megs of L3 cache. That is massive. Although its base speed is 3 gigahertz. Ugh.
Doesn't matter. Those Fallout settlements are getting bigger. So much more new overhead.
But yeah, we'll see what the prices are. You know, probably they're going to price them at the standard like $1,000, $800, $600, $400 thing, which isn't no good for me. I don't want a hyper-threaded hexacore. I'm waiting till octo-cores hit the like $400 mark, and then I'm interested.
So you guys can render all those videos even faster. Get your workflow even working more.
Well, I do render video professionally for my work, so yes, that would actually be helpful.
I'm sure.
Joel being a dick. Oh, but are you making a movie? Oh, I didn't think so. Anyway, moving on. Dave,
Joel
what's your news item? No, Dave, we're moving on.
CPU speeds.
What's your
You'll never actually be rendering, Norman. Let me twist the knife.
All right, Dave, what do you got?
I felt a little bad about that. Which one's my first one? Oh yeah, the IKEA VR app. This interested me because I've done, like virtual tour stuff before. I work full time as a 3D artist. But it always interests me, like kind of the ways that sometimes a company or an organization will like try to shoehorn a new technology into like it's just flashy, it's attention getting. IKEA has a VR kitchen experience, which is officially the lamest thing they could have called it. But it lets you explore one of 3 different kitchens, change cabinet colors, and shrink your size to see the kitchen from different perspectives. I think you can like change out some of the cabinets and accessories. The idea is they're testing the waters to see like will customers get more engaged in a VR experience if they can like build their own custom kitchen and then just like order it right there. I'm gonna actually talk down a little bit on some of the stuff I've done like in the past, like I guess my own job just a little bit. I'm not convinced that this kind of thing is worth the time investment because I've never really seen the engagement be high enough to justify the amount of hours that this kind of thing could take. But if VR really takes off and we see more of this, maybe IKEA is not quite on target with this one. But what do you guys think for VR? Could that be a shopping experience for the future? Is that worth the amount of time to model and texture?
Absolutely. I can imagine we could actually see Amazon's brick and mortar store all over the country.
What do you guys think would work better than IKEA's kitchen for VR? Like, what else could you see in the future?
Cars,
lingerie shopping.
In cars.
Yeah, I was actually going to say cars, but one of the others I was going to say resorts and stuff. I know Joy would love it. I don't
real
think
estate.
Yeah, I was going to say real estate,
yeah.
hotels, like pick a hotel room, you can actually look around, or a beach house. You can look and, pick wherever you want. But I think it will become really popular once VR is super light and extremely convenient. There is no time delay between putting it on and getting into that experience. But I think when that happens, this kind of stuff is going to be huge. I mean, Joey would spend hours just looking through Disney World resort stuff and just choosing the perfect place or whatever.
And I think, well, obviously, like, I'll speak for my own job in a pro way for a second. You're never going to be able to like replace an artist that, you know, can actually make an accurate model of something completely. But for stuff like Joel was saying, like a beach house tour, that would probably be the thing you want to automate, because I don't think you'd have the kind of like
you wouldn't model it. No, it would be some sort of automated process.
But actually, speaking of automation, can I just jump into my second news item real quick? Because
sure.
I can kind of just go right into that. This caught my eye. There's a company that's now offering a way to scan your face and turn you into a video game character. But, you know, there's some games, usually sports games, that offer this feature. But what really makes this company unique is, from what I can tell, you can use just about any camera you want. It makes a pretty accurate scan, like with depth and everything of your facial features, of your head. I believe this was from PC Gamer, Evan over at PC Gamer, and in his like test scan that this company did, they got all of the details of his hoodie and all that stuff. But what's wild is, it can then put your virtual avatar into a bunch of different games without any support from the publishers or the developers. They essentially have a software suite that creates a mod, and for single player games like GTA 5 in this case, you can replace main characters with an avatar of you. And of course, like, it's not, again, it's an automated 3D process. It's not as good as someone's made a custom hand sculpted model of your face. But it's kind of awesome to see, like, with a 15-minute process, a version of you as Michael in GTA 5 running around. Like, the video here on PC Gamer is strangely compelling, even though it's a very early stage for this technology.
Dave, if it worked really well in like all sorts of games, would you be using that if you had it?
Definitely. Like, I'd probably pay, I don't know, like $50-$60 for that kind of software if it worked well.
If you could get scanned in as Geralt. Like, it looks really good, Dave, in Witcher clothes. You'd be tempted to do that, wouldn't you?
I'm there right now.
He would want to do the other way. He could scan Geralt onto his body in real life.
In real life, he wants to like doing his Mission Impossible masks, like he can get put on.
I can see that being a really big thing for like YouTube
I'm adding
videos.
to cart right now.
I mean, I could see a lot of YouTubers doing that on all their series.
In the article, they mentioned that YouTubers, yeah. My sword is clean and red.
Oh my. Okay, so EVGA has released some low power video cards. So you can now get a GTX 950, or you'll be able to soon, that does not require a power plug, which is really nice because they released also like the 750 Ti and stuff back in the day that did not require a power plug, which is great for small builds with integrated graphics or pre-built desktops and stuff. So it's just a cool thing if you want some cheap video cards and you don't have a lot of power. These cards aren't the fastest examples of like a GTX 950, but they should work pretty well. Joel, what do you got for us?
The latest PlayStation PS, or the 3.5 software just came out, the firmware, that is.
Right.
And they released a couple really cool things. I guess this is not really super cool, but it's been asked for quite a while, is to be able to display, like, just look like you're offline. Not only just for games, it's to stay away from people. Thank you, James, for the idea, so I can play Dark Souls in peace instead of the podcast.
Joel,
no, but
all I picture you is like during the podcast. Well, Joel's definitely not on his PS4 tonight, at least. I'm on my PS4 tonight.
But specifically, actually, for watching movies. Like, I know on Xbox, it would actually kind of be a little bit of annoying when someone would sign on and be like, "Hey, you want to play a game?" Like, while you're trying to watch a movie. That'd be a little bit annoying. I kind of wish you'd actually detect when you're watching a movie and just turn off. But they made it as a hotkey button. You just hold down the PlayStation 4 button, and then you can do a little switch. They also added PC and Mac streaming capability, so kind of like the Steam streaming and stuff. But what's really cool about it is you can actually stream from anywhere. So anywhere you have good, fast internet, you can connect back to your PS4 at home and play on your Mac or whatever. And apparently they might be even supporting phones soon. So if you have a controller and you can somehow connect it to your phone, you could play using your phone screen.
That's pretty cool.
It works pretty well. And then the last thing, Jeremiah said he was going to test it, but apparently I guess
that.
people are kind of reporting that some of their download and upload speeds are slightly boosted. And if that is true, that's going to be awesome.
Subjectively, it does appear to be better. I downloaded some stuff today. You know, I don't really trust when you test the connection speed.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really seem to, like, if it's really bad, it's going to suck. If it's really good, it might work okay. But the PlayStation Network itself can vary more than that seems to indicate. I've been having good download speeds for the past day. So either I'm in just a good time, or it actually is improved, but all I can say is it's about time and thank you.
Now, Jeremiah, because they improved the download and upload speed, that means they took away another 5 kilobytes from the voice chat.
There isn't 5 kilobytes. Shane and I went into TeamSpeak, and you can drag down the voice quality slider, and we kept dragging until we both agreed it sounded just like PS4 voice chat, and it was like 2.5 kilobytes per second. It's like worse than a cell phone. Like, it's lower quality than a cell phone.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at the tiny, like, that's such a tiny amount of bandwidth. Why can't it be double? That's still a tiny amount of bandwidth.
I have no idea. Hey, maybe firmware 5.0.
Yeah, maybe. It's kind of crazy. They're already on firmware 3.5. Like, they're not doing like subversions. They're like charging ahead here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool they're adding more features and stuff, though. I mean, that's pretty nice. Okay, so the HTC Vive is out. Reviews are largely extremely positive. Now what? Okay.
Nothing. Go.
All right. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm the one being distracting. I apologize. So the reviews seem to all kind of agree that if you have the money and can do the setup and have a computer that's fast enough, so there's a lot of ifs, but if all those things apply to you, this is the best VR experience you can have right now. There aren't that many different VR experiences you can have right now, but they say this one is the best. The motion controllers, all the reviews have been like all agreed that like Oculus needs to release their motion controllers as soon as possible. They're more inclined to pick up Sony's motion controllers if games end up supporting them. Like, the motion controllers make a huge difference. The room sensing technology, where it knows where you are in the room and can like show you the edges of the room, like video or wireframe when you're getting to the edge and stuff. They said that's really amazing. Like, the immersion level is off the charts with the Vive, but the wiring diagram to hook everything up is a little bit ridiculous, and they say it takes about an hour to hook this thing up. Like, even if you move it to someone else's house to show them, like, you can't just carry it with you like you'll be able to carry a PlayStation VR or an Oculus right now. So it's really more of a permanent setup. It's what you would expect from Steam or from Valve. But the reviews seem to be extremely overwhelmingly positive.
Nice.
But the Singularity shame segment this week.
I was on a high there, Jeremiah. Don't do this to me.
The European launch has not gone so well. We strongly suspect here at Casual Shenanigans that Valve was not anticipating this to be as much of a success as it was. In typical Valve fashion, their customer support is not amazing, and they don't seem to have done a lot of prep work for it. There's a Reddit thread with more than 8,000 replies from pre-order holders frustrated because it doesn't appear that any European orders that were made with a credit card have shipped. If you ordered with PayPal, your Vive appears to have shipped or is shipping or is in the process. If you order with credit card, nothing's happening. It's a little bit like Tesla, where I read some journalists recently, they said Tesla is a hobby masquerading as a business. And it is kind of like that with Valve some of the times, where like they don't really have customer support representatives, and they just don't, there's sections of their business they don't really seem to address. Like with the Steam machines, they put them out there like, here's this cool idea, and if you don't like it, okay, we'll just forget it.
Oh well, we'll just scrap it.
Yeah, we'll forget it and move on, which in some ways is great, and they're like a very unique business and they do lots of cool things. But for the customers, sometimes that can kind of suck. And you know, lots of product launches are a little bit rocky. I'm sure these things will get ironed out, but it's very frustrating if you pluck down $800 and wanted to play this thing on week one. You're probably pretty frustrated right now. So that sucks, and Valve needs to get their act together when it comes to their customer service.
That's actually,
have to
that's actually one of the biggest things I mean, obviously the price, there's no way I'm paying that right now. Not even nowhere anytime soon. But I am held back by getting the Vive, whether or not it's an amazing piece of technology. I honestly don't know if it's going to be supported, like if it's going to be something that's going to last very long, whether or not it's awesome, just because it is Valve and HTC. Like, I mean, like it's their kind of big first jump into it that I don't think they're a big enough company, honestly, to back it. Like they're a big company, but for what they're trying to do, they still don't have the same kind of, I think what Sony is going to be able to do with it. Like I think they have a little bit more weight behind, guys, make damn games for this thing, you know, where I feel like Valve, they're hoping people make it, but I don't think they have the same as, guys, we need to have exclusives and releases. They just make really good tech and hope people make stuff for it.
Right.
But it's kind of like I've seen a couple really cool, like watches, like tech watches that are like, you know, on Kickstarter and stuff that are awesome. But I'm like, that's really cool. But I'm like, honestly, I would not buy it because it's really cool. But if not enough people like it and buy it, doesn't matter if it's amazing technology. No one's going to make anything for it. You're going to have no apps for it. You're going to have nothing, and it'll just, you know, it'll die off.
It's like my
I think this is
2006
really
gaming laptop that promised upgradable graphics cards, but then like 3 of us bought the laptop.
I think we're in the testing phase to see if this is even going to fly or not.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though people have really like dove in with development and stuff, I think that after we get this phase, if it proves to be a viable market, then we'll see companies like Samsung jump in and Apple and stuff, and then we'll actually see, you know, across the board development if we get to that point.
Yeah.
All right. It's now mail time.
Mail time!
You can write in to be a part of the show at casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like Michael did. He said, "Hey, Casual Crew. I've been listening to your show for a while, and I've been watching Dave's videos too. I don't get the chance to watch live because of those annoying time zones, but I always watch or listen later. I have 2 questions. 1, what are some of your favorite game moments you've had together as a group? The ones that were really fun memories or awesome moments in a game together."
Fun?
I think we can all agree that night when we played Payday 2, we've talked about it plenty of
don't
times.
mention that. Just don't mention that one.
Why? Was it not fun?
It was a one-night fling.
Joel's moved on.
Joel's like, I didn't even like it. I don't even know why you guys, I didn't even like it that much.
Yeah, I didn't even like it. It was not even that great.
Joel's married now. He just doesn't want to bring up the past. He's moved on with his life.
He heard she got fat. It, like,
Honey, I'm coming downstairs for dinner. It's just, I'm talking with my friends.
Right,
Usually
exactly.
watching the Twitch replayed 3 years
Well, I
later.
mean, we can all agree, Payday, you know, she let herself go a little bit. You know, you don't really want to like, you know, I liked her, but like it was different. You don't understand. Yeah, Payday 2 was definitely
Payday 2
one
and
sweet
Joel, I'm
night
gonna
of
have to throw
really tar
early
heroin.
DayZ.
What's that?
Really early DayZ was those first magical nights where like Dave had Dixie songs queued up on the in-game radio when we blasted into the Northwest Airfield in a truck, totally unprepared for anything.
Well, we all snuck up, and like I was like, remember I was laying in like the airfield with a sniper rifle, and you guys were sneaking into the side trying to get into the air tower or the flight control area. There was like 3 guys there, and I think I took 1 shot, and I actually got somebody. It was like, yes, it was so. I think we played like 5 hours to do the 1 shot. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Oh man.
Dave, do you got one?
Phrase the original question again for me. I'll make sure
What are some of your favorite gaming memories together as a group? The favorite game moments as a group. Yep.
I mean, Battlefield 3 is kind of where things started. Like, that used to be our pickup game for a long time. Just like almost any night of the week, someone's going to be on playing Battlefield 3, and then everyone else would kind of filter on.
Do you kind of miss the Battlefield and DayZ days where like everyone just hopped on and we were all pretty much just playing the one game? So like you hop
no
on
one
to hang out.
scheduled anything. You were just always wanting to play anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is how it's been at times with GTA for the larger group. But for the 4 of us, you know, when Chris was a part of the podcast and everything, like it definitely Battlefield for me and Chris, it was Bad Company 2, and then we kind of hopped into Battlefield 3 with you guys, but in the early days.
It's so funny, like, because me and Edgar played like 600 hours of Bad Company 2, like around that same time, just not with you guys. If only we knew.
James, do you have a favorite?
I would say playing GTA with Joel back in the day when we first got it, and the dolphin swimming. That was one of my favorite moments.
James, remember we played, I think, 6 or 7 hours straight on the PS3 when we got it? Because I owned it on 360.
How did we do audio?
Yeah,
we had FaceTime going on our phones for audio because the PS3 sound was so bad.
It was worse than the PS4s.
Oh yes,
it was horrible.
It had because it had like 200 some megs of RAM. So
yeah, and on the PS3 you can't have a party chat outside of the game. You have to get in a game first.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So it made it really hard to actually get into chat because you'd have to be like, yeah, I don't know how you coordinate.
I would throw in some Rocket League.
Yeah.
I think Rocket League's gonna be one of those games that is just installed for years.
Well,
it's
they
gonna
keep
be around
giving
for a
us new
while.
stuff. Yeah.
Joel, do you have a
That's the thing,
particular?
I don't-
Oh, sorry.
I don't need the new stuff for Rocket League. Like I could play the classic mode and Snow Day for years to come easily.
Yeah. You just say that, but then you just said Snow Day every single night that we've ever played. You're like, how about a few matches of Snow Day before we get going?
Just real quick.
So
Just see what
there's
it's
like
like.
a chance you'll like basketball as much as you like Snow Day. So we'll see.
Joel, do you have a particular favorite?
I mean, honestly, I think like as a group, I think my favorite was just a couple of the early DayZ things. Like so that one night when I did was I leading the group and I ran with the flare.
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Hey guys."
Something awakened within Joel as he ran,
That was so
shaking a flare onto the airfield. Ooh, this is kind of fun.
But it was funny because you guys were like, "You're gonna die," and it's like I somehow survived. But then there was a whole bunch of people there too. Yeah, that was really fun. If the game is ever that good again, that would be fun to play.
I have to throw in one of my DayZ memories is getting stuck in the tech building multiple times. Once with just regular guys that they were fighting, and then another time there was hackers. I think it was just me and Shane at that time.
Yeah.
And we're like, Dave, come find us. Dave logs in. Here's the automatic shotgun. He says, nope. And he gets out of the server.
I think my favorite DayZ memory is before we really knew how big the game was going to be and like how big it would be, how instrumental it would be to the growth of Dave's channel, especially. Within the first month or two, Dave put out that invitation to have, for anyone who doesn't know, Dave put out a video on Reddit saying we're going to have a DayZ church service, like an old Orthodox.
That was my idea.
European. Was your idea?
Yeah,
It was your idea. Yeah.
We're going to have a
Randomly
church
at lunch.
service. So Dave put out a video saying, come to this church. You know, we'll tweet out the server, so follow us here, and we'll post it in the Reddit thread and whatever. But come to this church, everyone hop in and like bring offerings of beans and things, and we'll have a little church service. And
did actually drop beans too.
But then,
Yeah.
so the video blew up, and there were people offering like, yeah, me and my crew, we run like security for all kinds of things. Like in DayZ, we'll come be your security if you want. And there were other people being like, we are going to hack and destroy all of you. We're going to kill everybody. We're going to destroy everything. And like just hundreds and hundreds of comments of people going back and forth. And then then someone came and like, I have an 100-person server I'll let you use. Like people were just contacting us out of the blue. And
Yeah.
Dave was like, okay. And the night came and Dave, you posted the server IP and was like almost 1,000 people tried to join the server.
The original invitation video got 80,000 views in 3 days. And when the server went up and I tweeted the link, we had 1,300 people trying to queue into the server, and it broke the server queue software because it wasn't designed to handle that many people in queue. So the server was getting DDoSed by the participants of the event trying to get in.
And I think it was like the third server you tried were actually able to have the service. Service. Everyone's huddled in the church while people like spawn and fly choppers.
Someone chucked a
straight into
grenade
the-
and I died immediately, and then Dave took over.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a gathering. That's all it was.
But it was so funny that we had like the like organ music playing.
Yeah. And for me, Jeremiah, the most amazing part of that event was because everything was on fire. The server was up, down. We had to like change the name of the server to like hide it from people who were trying to find it because there were too many people trying to find it. It was really chaotic because we just didn't expect that amount of traffic. But because of the chaos, for weeks after that, people would send me videos, and I have a few of them saved still somewhere. People had probably 7 or 8 different church services on other servers without us because they couldn't get in or couldn't find us. There were huddles of people, like 5 people in one church on one server, 20 in another server. I saw one video, it was like 40 people wondering where we were having their own church service. But it was tons of them. Like we started like a movement just briefly. Like that amazing.
We started a religious movement.
We should do it again while Daisy's still like moot right now. Like not many people. Just randomly post it to see if we can like just destroy a server. Which probably wouldn't be that very hard.
No, there was another time when we crashed a server, the Berezino Bloodbath, where we posted a simple invitation, again at the height of the standalone then, saying, hey, we'll be in this server, and this is when our crew was at its biggest playing DayZ, and we were like, you guys come get us. And it crashed the server the first time. I think we did through like 2 server restarts before the server was stable enough that we could start playing, and it was a full, I think it was like 30 people trying to kill us. And like that was a ton of fun because so many people like posted their perspectives and stuff. And we were ripping through people. Daniel, Collide, and I, like we skirted around the outskirts, ran through a barn, and just like mowed through like 5 or 6 people in one go before we got killed. It was so much fun. And and Ultra says we also crashed the server for the Battle of Novigrad as well. Not Novigrad, Novogorsk.
My personal favorite early DayZ story, of course, involves just a little bit of Joel shenanigans, but that summer in 2012, I was so into DayZ, I would take my lunch break at work and on my crappy Quadro graphics card, run through DayZ servers looking for vehicles because at the time, like there were so many people trying to play DayZ that all the vehicles were like hidden off in the woods. We hadn't even seen a Jeep ever. We've been playing for like 2 months. I hadn't even ever seen a Jeep. Like, you know, there's someone like wasn't driving away from us. Like we never actually seen one spawn. But one day at work, I like saved like the server, like the grid coordinates because I found one that was abandoned. It was missing like all the tires and stuff. I spent literally days playing hours by myself in the dark, hiding tires in my backpack, hiding parts like in tents on multiple servers. I gathered all the supplies for that freaking Jeep. And then like I announced to you guys, like, guys, the Jeep's ready to be built. We put all the parts in it. We can drive it. It was like a Friday night finally. You guys were all going to come and help me move all the parts and we were going to build it together. But like I had to go, like I had to like leave right as we finished the last bits of parts. So you guys were like guarding it. And we drove that Jeep away. The lights were on, the engines were running. It was our first wheels in DayZ, and it was amazing. And then I'm like, all right, guys, I gotta go for an hour. I'll be right back. I like came back. I would just been in the back seat the whole time. I think Joel, you were driving at the time. I came back, and it was pitch black night. We were all unconscious on the ground. The vehicle was a burning hulk. Just the glow of the fire, all the bodies, and you're like, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. You would hit one of those like really thin wooden rail fences in the dark
Just
at like
blew
40
up.
kilometers an hour, and DayZ, being DayZ, the vehicle just exploded after a week of planning and work, just gone in an instant. Oh,
Dave, I would have to add not early DayZ, but standalone. The night I stole your plants, like I
Stole my
couldn't
what?
breathe that night. The night I stole your plants when we got to the prison.
Oh my gosh. you like uprooted my garden, put it in your backpack, but then the game just deleted the plants. And so like
Well, Dave's plant, like we moved there. He had this big plan of getting to the garden outside of, you know, the prison, planting his little plants because he'd been talking about planting for like
just wanted to garden
a few hours. So he was pretty excited about this. And he's planting them, and I'm walking by like, oh, I could pick up his plants. So I just start picking them all up as he's planting them. He's so pissed. He starts firing a couple, you know, shots, not purposely trying to hit me. But I was like, Dave, don't kill me, but I think your plants are gone. And then so we spent like 30 minutes like playing hide and seek essentially throughout the prison.
That giant prison with all the doors, like I hear James's footsteps like somewhere upstairs, like tap, 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 tap. And I hear like a door like slam. I'm like, I'm coming for you, James. I get up there, like he's just gone again.
Shane he had no clue what was going on at first.
Oh, that was a wild night.
And then when you finally caught me, I think I was in the middle of eating or something.
Yeah, you were like eating against a wall, just like no.
But you finally caught me. I didn't have a weapon or anything, and you came up to me, and I had the can in my hand. I was like, I wonder if I can hit him with it. And my character just stuck the can. I went boop, and unconscious.
Just knocked me out instantly.
We
you just booped me with like a can of tuna, and I had like a rifle on you. Like, I found you, James. Where's my plants? And you're like, oh hey, boop, just on the ground unconscious.
Well, I feel like we can safely say that DayZ has been one of our big group moments of fun gaming.
Definitely has.
Joel,
Thank you, Daisy, for those early days.
Yeah, like even if the
Thank
game's
you.
never
Thank you.
finished, we got hundreds of hours out of it, even if they never do anything else with it.
Joel, that night that you thought that that rock was your pants.
What?
What?
We're gonna need a little context.
I remember this.
We were, I forget what town we were in, but there was some guy that was sniping.
He
And
shot
we were trying to
Jeremiah.
get position on him. And for some reason, you like took off your pants for something.
Normal.
You're
You're
looking
limited
at the ground,
advantages.
like, where did they go? I guess they just disappeared. When you showed us the footage, you remember you were ashamed. You didn't want anybody to know, but you were looking at these rocks on the ground.
What happened at the time? Rocks, like pebbles, would spawn in loot spawn points. Rocks were like one of the new things you use to like make knives and stuff, and they were accidentally added to the loot table, so they would spawn like in houses and stuff. Joel, you had like been like injured in the gunfight when Jeremiah got shot, so you needed a bandage, but you like use up all your bandages. So you're like, well, maybe I can take my pants off and just rip those into bandages, and took your pants off, and they like spawned to the floor below you. But you looked behind you, and there were like rocks that had spawned inside the house, like the game had spawned them. And you sent me your
kept
footage.
looking at
You kept looking at the rocks. And you asked me later, you're like, I kept wanting to ask you guys if there's a possibility that my pants had turned into rocks, but I was too ashamed to actually ask.
I was like, you're like, just laugh because you're not. I'm like, you're gonna think I'm just bullshitting you, but I'm like, seriously, I think my pants turned into rocks.
We were like couching
There was
the corner,
also
and
in
the
that same night was
rocks were right behind
he was dying of thirst,
dehydration. Yeah.
dehydration, and there was that bottle of water in their screenshot.
He took a screenshot. He's like, guys, like I can't find my pants, and I think I'm dying of dehydration. And there was a water bottle like in the screenshot, like in the corner.
Lots of Debbie died once with canned food and a can opener in her backpack, and we're trying to feed her in the middle of the street. And she's going, "I'm dying." And we're like, after she dies, we're like, "Debbie, what's this can opener?" Oh, yeah, that.
Oh,
Oh,
Daisy.
Daisy. And then maybe one more story. One that we kind of played with the greater Casual Shenanigans community. One that'll always stand out to me is when we were in a server, we were about to hop off for the night. We randomly ran into some guys. Things escalated quickly. We asked them to play Die Hard trivia. They like won trivia, or I think they lost. Then like we sold somebody into slavery in the game. Yoshi became their master.
Yeah.
And then we were like the random people who came across, and he called them like a butler and his buttless because they were a man and a woman. I don't think buttless is a term. So they're like running along, and like at first we think it's just a joke, but these people start going along with it, and then like we come across more people, and then like they join the slave army, like of these people we've bought in game. And then we come across more people, and like they're fighting to protect Yoshi and like throwing themselves on the proverbial grenades to keep him safe. We get in a firefight. More people join the slave army.
Willingly.
And then willingly, which is starting to get like really weird. And then somebody at like this top of the hill starts shooting at us. So we have like a run up Hamburger Hill, Dave calls it. Like we're all sprinting up a hill into fire. We find this guy. The slaves beat him to death. Then Yoshi tries to like let them go, but they say no, they've pledged their lives to him. And these like slaves won't log off the server, and they keep following us around until we logged off. I call it the Butler Chronicles. It's still on my YouTube channel if you want to go look it up. It was, I probably got a few of the details wrong, but it was one of the most crazy, like
So weird.
Only in DayZ could any of this happen, and it was kind of amazing.
On like quick note, Jeremiah,
yes.
buttless is actually a term, like in buttless chaps.
What is actually?
It means there's no butt in the chaps.
Joel knows.
Well, I mean, I know, but what does it really mean? What does buttless mean?
There's no butt in the chaps.
Okay.
Buttless, that's the only term. It does not mean female
Joel,
butler.
just Google it really fast.
Buttless
right.
chaps, just right into Google.
Now, Michael had another thing in his email. I really enjoy the podcast. It is seal-slappingly good. And I enjoy the casual conversations and the getting to know you guys series. I want to ask, are there any more of these on the way for both video types? I'd like more videos for getting to know where you four talk about yourselves even more because it's really interesting. Maybe you could call it Getting to Know Us More. Or maybe new ones with some of the other people like Singularity 80, Debbie, Ultra Grunt, Mark, and more. If not, then more casual conversations would be really good too, because those are always fun to watch. Thank you all. Keep up the good work. There are more casual conversations on the way. James and I have recorded another one that I'm currently editing. We have plans to do more. It was just a scheduling thing, and we got a little bit behind on it for a while. Joel has assured me he and James are going to finish their Star Wars series.
For sure.
Definitely for sure at some point. And then the Random Crap podcast with Joel and James, you can expect to come back at random intervals.
There'll be a trilogy
of Random Crap podcast. And then you
can't plan those. They just have to happen.
Trilogy, 4 episodes.
Tonight on Random Crap, waffle stomping Random Crap.
But yeah, they're Getting No series. I hadn't thought about doing that for other people. I mean, I guess if more people wanted to see that, we could record more episodes. I thought not Mark. Wow. I thought James did an awesome job of like coming up with the questions and moderating all that. So James, if you ever want to do more of that,
yeah, that'd be fun.
You make the questions, you interview us, we'll answer them, and then I'll do the same for you. But yeah, James and I have a plan for slightly more serious casual conversations that we're working on. I think it's my fault. I'm more tightly scheduled when it comes to podcast stuff, and I need to be scheduling it in. So I am working on that, and we definitely want to do more. Okay, but you can all write in to casualshenanigans@gmail.com to be a part of the show. You can also write in with your PC build and tech questions, and Dave and I answer those on Casual Shenanigans Tech. The views are going up for Casual Shenanigans Tech, Dave.
Ooh.
It's not quite rivaling this podcast yet, but it's getting closer.
51 people.
It's getting closer than you'd expect for the amount of work we put into it.
As long as you're not one of them, Joel.
But thank you to everyone.
Actually, I am one of the listeners. I listen till I fall asleep. It's like a challenge. How long can I stay awake until I fall asleep? Not very long.
Joel, how much if we supported you for your dreams? Like when you're like making your movie and you need people to drop everything and come with you to South Carolina. Do your friends do that, or do they sit there and make like snide, smart-ass comments like, "Oh man, how's that YouTube going with your video rendering and your?"
Yeah, I don't know. Joel, I mean, I do get a lot of Norman jokes. So
you do, but are we always there? Are we always there?
Yeah. Do your friends always help?
I'm always
with
there too.
Do your friends put Norman posters into Fallout for you?
Do your friends dress up as Gwent players?
Ooh, yeah, they do.
Your friends drive to see you?
No, hey, I like your guys' technology. I just don't. Wait, what'd you say?
All right, Pecor.
James said, "Do your friends drive to see you?" No.
Oh man,
James, I do want to come.
Just leave that with crickets.
We have seen you before, and you've driven up here. It's not like we don't see you.
Yeah, because I've driven up there. Now, to be fair, last time Joel came here, I think he helped me move something.
I would have helped you move if you told me.
I was going to come see him when we were planning the Batman versus Superman.
But then I had to hurt my back skipping 3 stairs.
I don't want to see James. I just hurl myself down steps.
I still don't understand the skipping 3 stairs thing. Like, were you going up, right?
Yeah, I was going up.
Right. At the beach house, I tried skipping some stairs. Like, without trying to sound like a dick, I'm taller than you by a significant portion. And skipping 3 stairs was a lot of stairs. I did that a couple times. I was like, how did Joel do this? Like, how did he think he wasn't going to kill himself?
I think this is a cover up. I think he was probably like on the toilet or something.
And like he just squeezed really hard and then he heard a pop.
I said I don't know if it was 3 or 2. I mean, I just skip. I can show you. Next time you're at your house, I'll show you how I skip up steps.
No, because we don't want you to hurt yourself again.
I mean, no, I don't think I do. I don't do like here's 1 step and I skip 1, 2, 3 and then I hit on the 4th one. I think I was more being general. I think it may be 2 steps. I just like go. I just. It's nothing. It's nothing.
Do you make the sound
crazy.
Too? Okay. Tell me you make the sound.
Nope.
I don't know.
Joel, do you want to on the toilet.
Just real quick, tell people how you greeted a random group of people in the hallway at work a few days ago. Charlie, do you want to tell this?
I was thinking about It's Always Sunny, and I was thinking about how Mac always like walks, like opens the doors, like, "Hey, oh, bitches." Mm-hmm. And I realized I was walking down the hallways, and some students are just like I don't know. I think they just like they weren't like waving at me, but you know, you walk past people, they just you happen to like catch your
Right.
eye, whatever. You're looking right. I was I was in the middle. I was like, "Hey, bitches!" And I just said that out loud. And I just walked on by. I was like, "I don't know you." I was like, "Son of a bitch."
Were there any repercussions for this, or?
No, not at all.
Oh,
I mean-
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Joel. It's now time
Oh.
for 90 seconds with Joel, part of the podcast where Joel talks about whatever he wants for as long as he wants.
Yeah, I'll try to keep this really short.
Sure.
This was
sure.
this was actually a little bit more serious, and I don't mean to like drag in more of a crazy serious topic on here, but I think it kind of connects a little bit to gaming stuff or just gaming culture. And but when I saw this, it honestly really affected me a lot because it was just, I guess it just kind of clicked, you know, and it made me think about a couple of some stuff that we would maybe send each other, you know, or like just funny images or whatever. This is Wentworth Miller, the guy who is in Prison Break, and I think he's in a lot of like CW shows now or something like that. Apparently there was a meme, there was a photo that went around that he kind of found himself on. He didn't realize he was in one. Then, you know, I think someone said, "Hey, you're in this." Well, after Prison Break, he kind of retired from acting. And if I can just read this really short, I'll try to be really quick. But I'm curious what you guys think too. Okay, so I'll just read it. Today I found myself the subject of an internet meme, not for the first time. This one, however, stands out from the rest. In 2010, semi-retired from acting, I was keeping a low profile for a number of reasons. First and foremost, I was suicidal. This is a subject I've written about, spoken about. What?
Before you go forward, do you want to like tell them what the picture is?
It will explain it in just a second.
Okay.
This is a subject I've written about, spoken about, shared about, but at the time I suffered in silence as many do, the extent of my struggle known to very, very few. Ashamed and in pain, I consider myself damaged goods, and the voices in my head urged me down the path to self-destruction, not for the first time. He suffered with depression since childhood. It's a battle for a long time. In 2010, at the lowest point in my life, I was looking everywhere for relief, comfort, and I turned to food, and it could have been anything, drugs, alcohol, sex, but eating became the one thing I could look forward to. Count on me to get me through. There were stretches when the highlight of my week was a favorite meal in a new episode of Top Chef. Sometimes that was enough. Anyways, one day out for a hike with a friend, we crossed paths with a film crew shooting a reality show. Unbeknownst to me, paparazzi were circling. They took my picture and the photos were published, and alongside images of me from another time in my career. And this image, it said hunk to chunk, fit to flab. And anyways, so it got to him, and he's like, when I saw that, you know, that image of me, he's like, it was huge. It was like such depression for him, you know? And anyways, so it's just like a photo side of him, like from Prison Break, and he's pretty ripped, and he worked out a lot, you know, and he hasn't been working out. And, you know, when I saw that, it made me think of lots of the random, you know, memes or images that we'll see all the time, and they'll be really hilarious. And I was just like, and I know people have these problems and they're real people, but I think it's so easy for us to be so desensitized to what we're looking at that it's like, oh yeah, shit, that's a real person. Like, how do they feel about being out there, you know? And so I would like to think, I mean, I think I have a pretty thick skin. I mean, I've done a lot of stupid YouTube videos where I'm acting ridiculous and people can hate me all I want, but I know I'm joking. Like, I don't really care. But I mean, there's also a lot of things I would care about, you know, with Norman related stuff or things I really care about or whatever. But it made me think of one particular one, and like I try not to laugh saying it, but there's this photo of the guy tipping the fedora hat. All right, and like I laugh every time I see that, right? But then and I'm thinking I'm not like I guess I don't spread it around and I'm like, haha, this guy's an idiot, or you know, whatever. Like, it was a funny image. But then it really made me think, like, what does that guy think? You know, like, what does he think seeing that image around all the time, people making fun of him, you know? Yeah, I think people sometimes who wear fedoras and wear stuff like that kind of be a little odd, you know? But I mean, it's just, I don't know. It really impacted me one day when I was saying it, like, immediately the joke just kind of disappeared, thinking, man, this is a really cool actor that I like in a show that I really enjoy, that a new Prison Break is coming out again, and I'm really excited about that. And I was like, dang, that guy was at a really low, and here you have this image out there, and people on the internet who don't know this person, and it's completely separate. It's completely separated from reality of like his feelings. You know, it's like a big disconnect. You know, You know, like they don't know the person, they don't see the hurt or what's going on. Maybe he thinks it's funny, you know, but the fact is they don't know. And it just made me think of like all the random like images I might have seen that it's like, man, I wonder what they're, you know, how they're doing. Like, what if you, Jeremiah or Dave, you all of a sudden it breaks out and you're on a meme everywhere and it's just like the bearded, you know, immersion dude who plays Witcher. I don't know. Some like you maybe
that's a long meme title.
I don't know. You get
Dave's like, those all sound like
you get the
compliments.
point.
I don't understand.
I don't know what
you.
it would be, but if
Right.
you could think of something that would be like, gosh,
Yeah.
that would really like really depress
It wouldn't be
you,
something.
you know, if
It wouldn't
you're
be
out there
something you think it would be. That's how it normally works. It'd be something you wouldn't think it would be. It'd be something you would
Yeah,
do
exactly.
accidentally or something you didn't think anyone would ever notice, and that's the thing that people are going to latch onto and beat you over the head with.
I've
Yeah,
actually got another great example. Just, you mind if I jump in for a second, Joel?
Sure, go ahead.
Do you know the scumbag Steve memes? The guy with the sideways hat?
I think I've seen that before.
He's like standing in the doorway and it's always like, you know, says he's your friend, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
Okay, I
steals
think I
your
know what you're
girlfriend,
talking about.
like, you know,
Yeah.
scumbag Steve. It turns out his real name is Brian, and the photo was taken from his MySpace profile that he had actually forgotten about, and it showed up in 2011 on Reddit, and he turned out to actually be like just, you know, a normal, pretty nice guy. Like, he's not a scumbag Steve, but like everyone recognized him from the photo, and he did like interviews about it. He's actually recently been kind of contacting people who also have been turned into a meme and like giving them advice about how to deal with just kind of the uncomfortable thing of like being this character that like you had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
But like he had no control over it, and he became scumbag Steve on the internet.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I mean you see that kind of stuff, and I think even subconsciously, like the more whether or not you think, oh, like this guy is actual scumbag, but I think over like hearing it and seeing it over and over and over and over and over again, you know, the same with even sometimes like with the political stuff, you know, like smear campaigns and stuff. If that's the only thing you maybe see all the time, it's hard not to kind of be a little bit biased and like, is that guy kind of weird, or you know, what's the deal? And I you know, it just hit me really hard. And I guess I don't know. I just want to say is like, be careful what you're sending around and like who you are making fun of. You know, there are so many the trolls and the douchebags that, you know, go on comments and just ruin people's day. Like you really have you don't know where those people are at, and it just hit me really hard while I was at work, and it reminded me a lot of like the gaming things that you'll see around, and the amount of just people that'll just be like haters of everything and angry, and they just like put yourself in that person's perspective. Like if that was happening to you, like I think you would be crushed and you would not want that. So I don't know. It's just like it almost just made a lot of the funny things that I've seen. I was like just not funny anymore because I'm like, man. It's not like I didn't know it already, but that it really hit me because it was an actor I really enjoy seeing on screen, and so that I think that brought it more home to me than normal and stuff. Because even like what's that one the silly meme with the Brian guy who has horrible bad luck, you know, like it's hilarious, but I'm like, man, like everyone in the world thinks this guy's a nerd and a geek, and I was just like, I wonder if the guy's super cool and like, how does he deal with this, you know? Like I'd probably be pretty pissed if it was just my face everywhere like that constantly, you know. Especially if you know if that's what people really thought, that's how I was. So, so I didn't mean to bring it down to a low level, but I just like I don't know. It just stuck with me, and I just felt like I had to share it.
No, thank you for sharing it. I mean, I completely agree with you. And if anyone's ever wondering why we do share or don't share certain things on the podcast, part of that's the reason why. The internet, there's a nice little shell of anonymity if you're careful, and we do what we can to preserve a lot of it, just because. You never know. You never know when somebody decides you're the one who gets to get burned on the, you know, on the pile and where all the pitchforks and torches might be coming your way. So we try to avoid that as much as possible because we wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of it. And if you don't want to be on the receiving end of it, try not to be a part of the mob.
The golden rule.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That whole do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. It turns out that really applies to like most life situations. Like,
do you guys remember? Was it what band was it? It was like kind of a heavy metal band. Gosh. Anyways, they're all like, do what you want, it's your life. And they, you know, and then all of a sudden people like the same people that like love their band was like stealing their music. And then they got like so angry that they were stealing the music. And the guy replied was like, you told me to do whatever I wanted.
And there goes all the sympathy, gone and done with. Joel, use it all for the Facebook post. That's enough for this week.
All right, that's the show this week. Next week, Dark Souls 3 is out. We will not be reviewing it next week. We'll do our standard format. We're going to wait a week so we can all play it, get through it, get through a fair bit of it, and then we'll be talking about it the week after that. So thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. As always, you can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com. You can tweet at casualshanaga. You can check us out at our website at casualshenanigans.com, where you can see previous episodes. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all that type of stuff. And until next time, everybody...
Power to the player.
Damn it, I was going to say that.
Hey, Casual.